Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Nourish and Strengthen podcast. So, last week we talked about the ins and outs of the first two phases of your fitness journey, and those are habit mastery and goal achievement. So, if you want the ins and outs of dieting, most people that come to us are looking for fat loss as their first goal that they're wanting to achieve. So, if you're looking for the ins and outs of how to set up a diet, what to expect, how to progress through it, go check out episode 35. Today, we're going to be talking about the next phase in your journey, which is so incredibly crucial to your success, and that is reverse dieting. Okay, so why is this so important? So you're going to finish a diet phase, right? And so just to clarify here, when I use the word diet, I am talking about a fat loss phase, a cut, that kind of thing, not necessarily a fad diet or anything like that. Okay, so you're going to finish up this fat loss phase or this cut, and you're likely going to be in a deficit. I mean, you will be in a deficit. In order to lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. If it's been a prolonged cut, you're likely going to be deep into a deficit. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this. This is totally normal. So let's talk about what happens at the end of that fat loss phase. Okay, let's talk about one end of the spectrum. So some people might think they need to stay at these low calories because you're afraid that, increasing your calories is going to make you gain the weight back. So you keep your calories at, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 1500, wherever they ended up at, you keep them there. You're probably going to feel fine for a little bit. Okay. But this is not sustainable long term to keep your calories so low. At some point, you are inevitably going to travel. You're going to have a period of time where you overeat, whether that's, for whatever reason. Calories are going to come back up dramatically and all at once in those kind of situations, right? And that is when you gain the weight back. Does that sound familiar to you? You guys, so many people can lose weight just fine. It's maintaining the weight loss that is hard for people, right? You go on a diet, you lose the weight, you hit your goal, you feel great. It's the best feeling, right? You're like, mission accomplished. I did it. Maybe you don't, on the other end of the spectrum, maybe you don't even try to keep calories low. You just think, okay, I'm done. I finished that phase. So I'm going to go back to my quote unquote normal eating habits and normal lifestyle. And pretty soon, over time, your weight's going to creep back up. And eventually, you're going to find yourself pretty close to where you were when you started that fat loss phase. Okay. In both of those scenarios, the missing piece is what happens right after the diet phase. Okay. It's just as important as the diet phase when it comes to maintaining those results. And that is the reverse diet. Okay. So reverse dieting, there are so many different ways people do this nowadays. I'm going to talk you through how we do it here at Moxie Coaching and why we feel like it's the best way to do it. Okay. So reverse dieting, it's a tool that we use after an extended weight loss protocol, okay? Or you can also use it when you just kind of feel like your body has had enough of being in a calorie deficit. Maybe mentally you're kind of over it. Maybe your body's not responding anymore. So, reverse dieting is when you incrementally add calories to your nutrition plan, okay? That can be super slow, that can be really fast, it doesn't matter. There's lots of schools of thought on how quickly you do this, but either way, the reverse diet is when you increase calories back up to maintenance, okay? Decreasing cardio can also be something that's done during this reverse diet phase. If your cardio end up getting higher than you want to maintain it for long term, okay? Both of these things, bringing calories up and bringing cardio down, can improve and build up your metabolic capacity, okay? So let's talk about why this is so important, you guys. In that diet phase, the diet, the calorie deficit, the exercise you're doing, it's going to place more stress on the body, okay? And long periods of low calories and higher cardio can actually take a toll on our hormones, our metabolism. And after months of this, right? Most diet phases are lasting, months. Our body it's smart and it's adaptable and it's going to adapt to whatever it is you're doing to it. And so your metabolism will adjust to those lower calories and will down regulate. It's going to slow down to help our body preserve energy. Okay, this is a normal process. It's actually an evolutionary process. It's a wonderful thing our bodies do to help preserve energy and keep us alive. But when it comes to weight management, weight maintenance, fat loss, it's not what we want, right? So because our metabolisms are going to adapt and down regulate, reverse dieting is so, so important. You can't just return to normal eating, bring calories back up, go back to your old habits. You have to do it incrementally. Okay. This can take, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks or so. Everybody's different. There's no problem with doing it different ways. We're going to talk through the different ways you can do this. But just doing it and bringing calories back up is so, so crucial. Okay. So let's talk about how this works and why it's so important. We kind of touched on that, but let's talk about how it works in our bodies. So reverse dieting, increasing calories, right? It's going to allow your body. So like I talked about our metabolism adjusting downward to lower calories, our metabolism can kind of adjust upward to higher calories as well. So when you add calories in incrementally and then give it time, okay, you hold your calories there, your metabolism will upregulate to a certain point and your metabolism will speed up, allowing you to maintain your weight on more food. Okay. The key is doing it incrementally over time. Okay. So you should not expect to lose weight during a reverse diet. The goal here is increasing your metabolic capacity and supporting healthy hormone production. So we're going to go into later in this episode what to expect, how to manage your mind around this, because it can be really hard to switch from, the quick wins of the scale, the measurements changing, the photos changing, feeling lean all the time to, not seeing the same kind of progress. Okay, so we're going to talk about that towards the end here. But let's talk about, you've probably heard me mention the words metabolic capacity a couple times already in the last few minutes. So what does that mean? Metabolic capacity is the amount of calories that your body can tolerate while maintaining your weight. So at the end of that diet phase, your metabolic capacity is going to be lower, right? Our metabolism downregulated, our metabolic capacity is lower, but through the reverse dieting process, we can make our metabolic capacity higher to a point, okay? Everyone genetically has a caloric ceiling that, when you hit that, you're going to be into a little bit of a surplus and start gaining weight, okay? But the key is bringing calories back up to that point from that lower deficit, okay? So why do we want a high metabolic capacity? Guys, listen up to this, okay? Because there's so many things that women struggle with that you can fix from reverse dieting, okay? So a high metabolic capacity means fewer weight fluctuations. You're going to have a better ability to maintain your weight when you go on vacation or when life gets crazy. No more like going on a trip and coming home and you're up like 8 pounds or something, or going out to a big dinner and you're up, your weight's up for days afterwards. You're going to have a much easier time maintaining your weight. You're going to have a higher resting metabolic rate. I almost said mesting retabolic. A higher resting metabolic rate. You're going to kind of establish a new metabolic set point in comparison from the end of your diet phase. You're going to have a better mood. You're going to have more patience. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have a better time losing weight in the future. Okay. So if you keep calories low forever, where are you going to go in the future? If you gain a few pounds and you want to drop them again, you got to get calories back up so that you have room to drop them again in the future if and when you want to. Okay. You're going to have more structure with your food. You're going to have more flexibility with your food. More, options. When your calories are higher, you can include more of those fun foods that you love so much. You're going to have so many more hormone benefits. Your hormones are going to be healthier, which is going to allow you to have more energy, sleep better, like I mentioned, more energy in your workouts. You're going to get stronger. There's so many benefits to getting calories up at the end of a diet phase. Okay. So hopefully you're sold on the idea that you need to reverse diet. You guys, when we take on a new client, the first thing we do is we go over this entire roadmap journey that I'm outlining over the course of 3 episodes here. And we really stress the importance of this phase. It is so important. But let's talk about the goal of a reverse diet. I want to clear this up. Okay. Hear me loud and clear here, please. The purpose of a reverse diet is not to lose body fat. That is not the goal, okay? The purpose is to restore your metabolic rate, get your metabolism back up, right? Upregulate your hormone levels and your energy, all while minimizing body fat regain. Okay. So you might gain a pound or two or a few pounds here, but just from adding food, that's going to be glycogen in your muscles. It's going to be food in your gut. There's going to be a little bit of water weight. but we want to minimize body fat regain while getting calories back up, okay? I want to address things that are out there on social media. You might see, before and after pictures of like, this client was eating 1,300 calories and now she's eating 2,200 calories and she lost weight as we got calories up there. Oftentimes that's not the whole story. Oftentimes the weight loss happened in a calorie deficit and then they got calories back up and they maintained. It's a little bit misleading, but sometimes there are hyper responders out there. There are people whose bodies do just soak up that extra food and they put it to good use and they do drop body fat when they're getting calories up. That does happen, okay? It is not the norm. So if it is not happening to you, I don't want you to feel discouraged or like you're doing anything wrong. It's not the norm, okay? So don't let those kind of messages frustrate you, all right? So during your reverse diet, I want you to really try to take the focus away from, how your abs look or how skinny you feel or how lean you feel in the morning, that kind of thing. I want you to focus more on your energy levels, your mood, how you're feeling in the gym and your workouts, and the emotional wins. Like, oh, I had more patience with my kids today. I used to feel super ornery and like kind of snappy with them, but I feel a lot more, level-headed and even-tempered. Those are huge wins that, believe it or not, come with more food. Crazy, I know, right? So are you set on the idea of reverse dieting? So many advantages. So when should you do it? Let's talk about when you should do it. There are two common scenarios when a reverse diet would be implemented, okay? First is you've been in a fat loss phase and you've reached your goal. Yay, great job. The next step would be to reverse and slowly increase those calories up until you find your new maintenance calorie intake, okay? Another common situation is when you allow your calories to get too low, okay? Maybe you dropped them too quickly, or maybe they're just getting low in your fat loss phase and your body's adjusting to that and it's plateauing and you're just kind of feeling stuck. You're not seeing good progress. Your biofeedback's off, meaning your digestion is funky, your sleep's not good, you're super ornery, you're just kind of over it. That's a great time to take a break, reverse diet back up to maintenance, and give your body a little bit of break holding maintenance there, okay? So let's talk about how to do this. How to do it. There's so many different ways to do this, okay? Couple ideas. So two extremes, actually. Let's go over the extremes. Some people, and I will admit, we used to be this way, okay? We used to do reverse dieting this way. We don't so much anymore. We used to go painfully slow, 40 to 50 calories a week. And these reverse diets would take, 12, 15 weeks, super long. And there's just no need to do that. Basically, what that's doing is that's extending out the deficit longer than you need to. And it's keeping those negative adaptations around longer. Okay. If you could increase calories quicker, you would recover from that dieting phase faster, right? And see those benefits quicker. On the other end of the spectrum, there's people who jump straight up to maintenance. That's a way you can do it as well. There may be a little bit of body fat regain in that, but there are benefits to it as well in that you get those benefits I talked about much faster. Okay. Your hormones are going to recover quicker. You're going to feel better right away. We prefer to do it kind of in the middle. We like to take one bigger jump of maybe, depends on the person. Oftentimes it's 10 to 15% of their calories, but maybe it's, 100 to 200 calories or 150 to 200 calories all at once. And then hold that there for a few weeks and then make a couple more small adjustments to get you up to maintenance. Okay, that's how we do it. Really, the idea is just that you are incrementally taking maybe 2 to 3 jumps up to maintenance calories. Maybe you're taking 4. Again, it's hard to say. It's totally different on every person and on how they're feeling. If someone is very nervous about their reverse and super nervous about body weight regain, we might take it a little bit slower. If someone is feeling really crappy and just wants to feel better, we might take it a little bit faster. Okay, so it really depends on the person. And that's where, shameless plug, that's where having a coach to coach you through this will make the world of difference. We love to coach clients through reverses because it's very nuanced to the person's mindset, to their body, how fast you do it. Okay. So if you need some help with this, guys, reach out to me on social. I'm happy to give you some tips or tell you more about coaching, how we can help you specifically with this. So just like in your diet phase, I want you to have a check-in day. Okay, you're going to choose one day of the week that's going to act as your check-in day. You're going to check in by taking photos, measurements, weight, after you use the bathroom, before you eat. Same as through that diet phase. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to increase calories. Okay. So I want you to every single week that you maintain your weight within about a half a pound or so and maintain most of your measurements, maybe within a quarter inch or so, I want you to add about 75 to 100 calories. Like I mentioned a minute ago, if you want to, you can add more, maybe 150 or so the first increase. And then after that, you're going to go in about 75 to 100 calorie increases. Okay. If you have a week where your weight jumps up, then you can keep them the same for another week. Totally fine. We oftentimes will keep them the same for a couple weeks there. If you have a week where you weren't on track, just keep them the same. Do not drop back down. That defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing here. You already spent months in a deficit. Don't drop them back down just because your weight goes up. I would rather you hold them the same until your weight kind of evens out, and then you can give yourself another bump. Okay, so you're going to bump from either carbs or fats. Here at Moxie, we track for most people just calories and protein. So you're just going to bump those calories up, and you can actually keep protein about the same. Okay. You might wonder, like, well, why don't we continue to increase protein? Well, I'm assuming that your protein is already in a good place from that deficit. Okay. If it's not, then you can go ahead and increase protein. We want protein intake to be about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight. Okay. So if it is quite a bit less than that, then you can increase protein throughout this reverse diet as well. Okay. So I know you're probably like, well, that doesn't tell me exactly what to do, and I know it doesn't. It's so nuanced, you guys. That's where good coaching comes in, and it can be scary. It can be tricky to do this on your own because it can be hard to know, should I increase food? It's hard to make yourself increase food. Okay, that's where a good coach comes in and can do that programming and handle that for you. So if you're working with a coach on my team, don't stress. We got you. We can handle all of this for you. Okay. So general idea, you're bumping calories up. You can do a bigger calorie jump in the beginning, then you can do smaller ones. It might take you, 3-4 calorie bumps to get up to your maintenance. So how do you know when you're at your maintenance? How do you know when to stop your reverse diet? So like I mentioned before, everyone has a genetic calorie ceiling. So this is the amount of food that your body can digest, process, and use throughout the day based on your BMR without putting on extra body fat. Okay. Sometimes you can slowly increase this over time, but everyone, no matter what, is going to have a tipping point where you start to put on body fat or muscle, depending on, your lifting workouts and your protein and that kind of thing. But where you start to put on weight, and everyone's going to be totally different. So it's hard for me to say, oh, you have to stop at 2,000 calories or 2,200 or whatever, because everyone is going to be very different. So a general rule of thumb is to try to get calories up to about 13 to 15 times your body weight in pounds. So if you're close to that number and you find your pants getting snug, it might be a good time to say, okay, maybe I don't need to keep on increasing my calories. Maybe this is good for my maintenance for a little while. We want to find a place where your energy is high, you're feeling confident, your hunger is low, and that's where we want you to maintain. Keep in mind, we want your confidence to be good. We want you to feel good about how you look. Okay. If your calories are still well below that 13 to 15 times body weight, you really do want to try to get your body to get used to using more calories. So, like for example, let's say you're at 1,600 calories, 1,500 calories, and you're 150, 140 pounds, something like that. We do want you eating a bit more. That's pretty low. That's not super close to that, 13, actually, I don't have the math in front of me, but 13 to 15 times your body weight. We want to get calories up a little bit higher. So what I would do there is try holding the macros you're at stable for about 2 to 4 weeks and evaluate what your body does. It might start to drop a little and show you that, okay, I can handle more, and maybe even do smaller adjustments after that, 50 to 75 calories or so. Like I said, we want to get to a place where your energy's high, hunger's low, and you're feeling good and you're feeling confident. So that's really all there is to it, you guys. But I do want to go over what to expect in a reverse diet, because the mindset here is so different, so different than in your dieting phase. So it can feel hard sometimes. You guys, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, okay? You're not going to see progress in the same way that you did in your diet phase, okay? You're not going to see those quick wins from, the scale dropping, the measurements dropping, or fitting into new sizes of clothes. Because remember, the goal is maintenance, okay? You're not going to see those wins. So you have to find other wins, okay? I want you to focus more on the weight you're lifting in the gym, biofeedback improvements, like improvements in your mood, your sleep, your energy. Maintaining your weight on more food is a huge win. So celebrate that as it comes and focus on the enjoyment you can have from your food, because you will have more flexibility that comes with more food and more of that food freedom. Because as your calories get higher, guys, you can totally work in, pretty much whatever you want in moderation, right? And that's super fun. Just know that there will be days when you're feeling fluffy or like you don't want to eat any more food. You're not going to feel lean and quote unquote skinny every single day. This is normal, okay? This is real life. Life is not meant to be spent on a diet. Okay, I want you to try to focus on other things. Like I said before, caring about feeling lean all the time and focusing on, try to focus more on your energy levels, your strength, your better mood, and choose to focus on the good that comes with this phase instead of the lack of those quick wins that you saw in those previous phases. Okay. So tips for reverse dieting success. I've got 3 of these here and then we'll close this out. So it's really important that you continue with the habits that you had in your diet phase. Okay. So when we're in a fat loss phase, most of us are very focused, right? We're focused on prepping our food, on planning our macros in advance, or, meticulously tracking. I want you to keep those habits into your reverse diet. Obviously, we still need to track our macros, okay? Because we're going to be manipulating those upwards, right? I want you to keep prepping your food. I want you to keep on getting your steps in. I want you to keep lifting. I want you to keep focusing on sleep, because if you let those habits go, it is going to affect your progress. And then it's going to make it much harder to reverse. You're going to be like, well, I don't know if I should increase calories because I don't know if my calories are too high, or maybe it's just because I'm not sleeping and I'm not moving, that kind of thing. Okay, so keep up those healthy habits. Tip number 2, don't just wing it. Okay, just like in your diet phase, you guys, you've got to plan, you've got to prepare. Okay, consistency is crucial in this phase. Okay, so you want to make sure you're staying consistent and really try not to have huge, weeks off here and there. It is going to affect your reverse. You're going to have so much more flexibility in the next phase that we're going to talk about in next week's episode, and that is lifestyle maintenance and flexibility. We're going to talk about how amazing that is and how much more flexibility you'll have then. But just for this reverse diet, stay consistent and continue to plan in advance and prepare. Okay. And tip number 3 is keep your goal in mind front and center every single day. And remember that the goal of the reverse is not dieting. I think I've said that like 10 times in the last 20 minutes, right? The goal is maintaining on more food. And that is a huge win. Okay. That is a huge win. When you can maintain your weight on more food, I want you to be as excited about that as you were about the 10, 20, 30 pounds you lost or more in your diet phase. Okay, you guys. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Next week, we're going to go into the fun that is the next phase, and that's our lifestyle maintenance and flexibility phase. And that is where we should be spending most of our lives, you guys. Really, that's where we should be spending most of our lives. Okay, not in the diet phase, it's in the lifestyle maintenance. Okay, so it's my favorite stage. Can't wait to talk to you guys more about it. So stay tuned. I will see you guys next week.